Welcome to Owning Pleasure as a Black Woman, the podcast for accomplished Black women ready to stop surviving and start thriving. I'm your host, Natasha Riley, licensed therapist and founder of Javer Integrative Wellness Services. This is where we move beyond talking about change to actually creating it. Every episode gives you practical tools to build a daily pleasure practice because you've already proven you can achieve anything. Now it's time to learn how to enjoy it. Ready to bridge the gap between knowing and doing? Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Owning Pleasure as a Black Woman. Thank you so much for returning. I want to shout out the listeners in Canada. Woo! I'm excited. Thank you so much. We are getting international. We got UK. We've got all of these people listening in, and that's exciting for me because in my mind, I'm still like, oh, little old me. You want to listen to little old me? So I appreciate you all for being here. If you have been here since day one, season one, I would like to hear from you. I would like to know what you have gotten from this podcast since you've been listening. I don't really know. So if you could leave a comment, if you could email me, all of that information will be in the show notes. Let me know what this podcast has done for you and how it's transitioned your life. Are you taking steps? What are some new habits that you have? I want you to talk back to me. I also want to know, what other questions do you have? What content do you want to hear about? What do you need right now in this day, 2025 of your life? Okay, we are already 1 month into the new year, and I know you have some things going on, and I know there's some things you want to know about what is going on in Natasha's world, and there is a lot that will be going down in 2025, and the newsletter is the only way that you're going to know about it. So make sure you sign up, because gift giving is my love language. You will definitely be getting a gift to your inbox when you sign up, so go ahead and get that done. Today's episode, it revolves around the new year. Not everyone wants to have New Year's resolutions. I see that is starting to phase out. So I have talked on my words a couple times, and I will make sure to link in the show notes my other episodes. But lean in to how I am moving into 2025, and I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're doing in 2025. What are your focuses? Okay, so I'm going to be quiet and I am going to let you enjoy this episode. So we are still in our New Year feels, and I told you that I was going to bring you a video about how I do words of the year instead of resolutions and goals. So today, that is what we're going to chat about. Now, I'm going to link the two videos the episodes that I've done. So I did one about why I choose words and how that has become a tradition for me, which really has to do with not feeling like I'll say the word. I wasn't going to use this word, but I'll say it. Not feeling like a failure at the end of the year, and also not feeling like I let myself down. I found out that when I use goals or when I use resolutions, if it doesn't look the way my expectation was, I just feel like I wasted away the year. And now that I use words, everything that I do aligns with my words, and it just makes things a little easier. So make sure you check out those videos, and make sure you check out the video that I did, or the episode that I did on my 2024 words, which were sultry, pamper, and thrive. Those were my words. I did pretty good. I can say I'm thriving, and we can definitely talk more about what that looks like, the mindset that comes with thriving, some of the challenges that comes with thriving. Pampering too, I think that falls in line with thriving. And sultry really was just me leaning more into my sensualism, understanding how to have an experience with my senses at a different level. And again, those are things that we'll talk about throughout this year because that doesn't stop just because the year ends. It is now ingrained and is part of who I am, part of my characteristics. Now, let's go into my words for 2025. Usually I have 3, and I was really stretching my brain to come up with 3. And then I told myself, you don't have to come up with 3. So I came up with 2. My words for 2025 are expand and repurpose. I am expanding in all areas of my life, and I am repurposing, which this came from a conversation I had with ChatGPT, believe it or not. But these words align where I'm at in my life and where I'm trying to go in my future. It aligns with me no longer being in survival mode and doing a very good job of creating habits and rituals that focus on myself and how I can show up for other people in my life, not just my personal life, but in my business as well. And I think these words are going to allow me to enjoy the fruits of my labor that have been ongoing for the last, I would say, 4 years, and maintaining a sense of simplicity and focus. I have the ability to get these grand ideas and these grand screams and schemes and want to reinvent the wheel. And this year, I don't want to do that no more. I want to really hone in and go deeper on the things that I've already worked on. So that's how I got into my particular words. But let's go a little deeper on the words that I chose. Now, yes, with expand, I want to expand in every area of my life, but I recognize that I may not hit every area of my life into this new year. I may work on 2 to 3 areas for the entire year and need to switch and do other areas as I continue to go on. And I'm absolutely fine with that. This is not a rush. This is not this race that I'm trying to get to the end of. I understand when I chose the word expand that this is ongoing, which means it could be words for the foreseeable future, or it's just something that I continue to work on. Now, expanding isn't about adding more stress or busyness to my life. That is not what I'm about. A couple years ago, my word was simple. I continue to live simply. I want things to be simple. It's more about my growth with intention. It's about enjoying the results of the work that I've already put into myself and I've already put into my business, and recognizing I don't have to stay small, and that I want to dream bigger. I want you to dream bigger. I think sometimes when it comes to goals, we put things in a box and we stay inside of this box, and it doesn't allow for us to get messy. It doesn't allow for us to stretch our arms and take up space and use our imagination. And my imagination and creativity is something that I have worked on the last, I will say, 2 years, to be able to think about what more can I do. I have done this a certain type of way, or I've been in this particular role for such a long time, but what else is there to me? I thought about my business in this particular way, but what if I did it a different type of way? What if I expanded in a different type of way? What if I pivoted in a certain type of way? So that's the direction I'm going. So expanding in my personal life looks like deepening relationships with myself. There's always something to learn about ourselves. Don't ever feel like you cannot learn about yourself every day. You got to be curious and learn about yourself. And I want to deepen that relationship with myself. And I want to deepen relationships with the people in my life, my loved ones, my friends. Everyone did not make it. Listen, I need to be real with you for a second. You're here listening to this episode. Maybe you're nodding along, you're feeling seen. And girl, that's beautiful. But if you're like most of my listeners, you're going to finish this episode, you're going to feel all inspired for about 10 minutes and then go right back to your regular life where you're still putting everyone first. I get it. I've been there. But here's what I've learned. The gap between knowing what you need to do and actually doing it is where transformation lives. Now, if you're tired of just consuming content about self care and you're ready to start practicing it, not tomorrow, not next week, but starting today, I created something specifically for you. It's called the 7-Day Self Care Reset, and it's exactly what it sounds like. 7 days of simple, actionable steps that help you move from thinking about prioritizing yourself to actually doing it. No overwhelm, no complicated systems, just practical tools that work with your real life. You'll get permission to put yourself first, learn to recognize those inherited patterns that keep you stuck, and discover what your authentic desires actually are underneath all the expectations. This isn't about adding more to your plate. I'm not going to do that to you. It's about finally honoring what's already on it, starting with you. Ready to stop listening and start living? Visit javerywellness.com/reset. That's RESET. And let's do this work together. Because the woman who just listens and the woman who actually takes action, they live completely different lives. Now, back to the episode.
Everyone did not make it to this version of my life, and that's okay. It was hard. It was sad. There was a lot of processing and things that I needed to do, but that's okay. I still have people, and I want to dig deeper into those. I want to share our expectations. I want to understand what our relationships are like beyond the surface level. And I want to learn new hobbies. I want to enhance the hobbies. Like, I want to learn how to draw. I haven't been really honing in on that. I have been learning Spanish and I'm getting better with that. So I think I'm going to put myself in more immersive experiences to where I have to challenge myself a little bit more. Macrame, I enjoy macrame. I enjoy being outside. I'm looking to see what does Natasha like and continue to grow in those areas. Now, business. I am expanding the offers that I provide. I am expanding more into being exclusive and making about quality, not quantity, and being able to give those people that come into my world, like you, an experience that you deserve, to understand what it means when someone says rest, what it means when someone says to prioritize your self care. I want to expand on that with and for you. And I want to do more in person things, simplify what I'm doing, but expand and go deeper. And I think I'm ready to be a little bit more visible. That was one of my words a couple years ago. And I think I'm ready to be visible and expand my reach on platforms outside of social media. Social media is at the bottom of the priority list this year, and I'm excited to see what my brain can do without constantly feeling stressed to post on social media. It will officially be to be social, okay? And then expanding in my self-care and my pleasure, expanding more time. How can I have more time for myself? How can I create more ways to rest? How can I add just a touch more pleasure and excitement into my daily routine? Now, interesting enough, I came up with this idea having a conversation with ChatGPT, which is what I do often. So one day I was like, okay, I have met the goals that I created for myself. I want to create goals for next year. What do I need to be working on? The problem is I can't think of goals. I don't know what it is I want to be working on. So ChatGPT said, okay, it seems like you have this urge, you have this gnawing to want to always be working on goals. But what if you just expand on what you've already done? And it started to have a conversation with me about how freedom is important to me, my time freedom, my energy freedom, how I really want to hone in on being outside and being with my family and learning more about myself and traveling. And it said, instead of trying to do something else, why don't we figure out a plan for you to do more of what you're already doing and expand in that so that you thrive more in that area? And I was like, it never crossed my mind that I don't need to create anything else, that I don't need any more goals right now. I just need to continue to focus in on the goals that I already have on different levels, kind of like a video game. You go throughout the entire game on levels, and eventually you finish that game, but then you go to another game that has different levels. And so I am just elevating the pleasure game that I've been playing for a couple years. So yes, ChatGPT is what helped me come to the word expand. Now, some actionable tips for you, some takeaways. I want you to reflect on an area in your life where you've done work and you're ready to expand. Ask yourself, what would expansion feel like for me in this area or that area? Again, my favorite number is 3, so don't go too big. Don't try to do a whole bunch at one time. Just find 1 or 2 things that you want to expand in your life and do that. And I think also this healing commercialized cliche of you always should be healing, but at some point you have to live, you have to experience the work that you've put in. And that is the season that I'm in the season of let the harvest, is it the harvest, what am I trying to say, let the seeds that you planted, let them grow. They're not going to grow overnight, and just because you see that it's come up out of the grass a little bit or come up out of the soil a little bit doesn't mean you need to clip it. Just let it grow, let it blossom into its full potential. And I'm going to let myself blossom. I'm going to let my life blossom. And I'm excited for me to do that. And I'm excited for you to maybe reflect and process what I'm telling you. And maybe you do the same thing. Now, repurpose isn't that far from expanding. And I say that because it came from the same thought process of I don't need to create anything else. I need to continue to go deeper into what I've already done. I'm not reinventing the wheel this year. I'm not reinventing the wheel this year. There is nothing else I really need to learn. I need to implement, like we talked about in the last video. I need to implement deeper what I already know. And I'm going to focus on using what's working and going deeper into the existing goals and resources. Now, repurposing came from repurposing content. So, because technically, at the time that I'm recording this, TikTok is supposed to be taken down. So I have been diligently moving some really good videos and content that I have over there, and I've been repurposing it in different areas so that I can grow in different areas, but also because I had some really good content over there. And I sat and thought about it. I was like, between videos that I've done, blogs that I've written, just things that I have created over the last couple years, I would be okay with never creating another piece of new content this year, and I wouldn't miss a beat. And then it came to my mind, what if I don't? Now, if I feel inspired, that's different. But those days where it's like, oh gosh, how do I get people into my business? Like, how do I get people to see me and notice me and be visible? And how do I get them to know what's going on? I have created more than enough. Nothing else needs to happen. I need to use what I already have. So I'm going to be revisiting and reusing past content, blog posts, emails, podcast episodes. I'm going to update them, make them fresh, maybe tweak them a little bit. And I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to keep it pushing. So for you business owners out there, content creators, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Use what you already have, okay? Create systems to maximize efficiency, and I'm reducing burnout because I'm all about freedom, okay? Now, life-wise, personal-wise, like I said, instead of setting new goals, I'm committed to going deeper with the ones that I've already established. My health, my relationships, my finances, my relationship with myself, my spirituality, all the things. I'm committed to going deeper. So I am repurposing all the information that I've already received. I have books, I have workshops, I have worksheets, PDFs, I have free challenges. I have all of these things that I've acquired over the last few years that were for specific goals. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to decide if they matter now. If not, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to reflect on past lessons and how can I refine my approach to my life? How can I thrive just a little bit deeper in my life? And that's something that I want you to think about. If you didn't meet a goal, if it didn't look the way that you wanted to, if it didn't meet your expectation, you do know that you can do that goal over again, right? You don't have to start over. No one is sitting around. There's no goal police that's sitting around saying, "Oh, you didn't finish that goal," or you knocked 1 2 3 off the list. You have to do a new goal. You cannot do the old one again. Like, just maybe you have the same 3 goals that you had last year, and that's absolutely fine. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So here's your actionable takeaway from repurposing. Look at your 2024 goals and ask, what can I repurpose or revisit to create a meaningful progress in 2025? What can I go back and say, you know what? That one particular book was so good and it gave me a lot of information and it propelled me in a good way in 2024. Let me go back and read that book from who I am today and see what types of tips and gems I get out of it now to implement today. And it may just be that a lot of stuff that you're going to try to repurpose you don't need anymore. It doesn't fit you anymore. It doesn't fit this life anymore. And it's time for you to let it go, which is why I am running around decluttering my house, because there's a lot about my house that doesn't fit this version of me anymore. And I want to fit in every aspect of my life. So I think these 2 words definitely help with me feeling more comfortable, pleasantly uncomfortable with the things that I'm pushing myself to do, but comfortable in the life that I'm creating for myself, for this version of myself and the future version of myself. And without even doing it on purpose, I chose 2 words that balance each other out. They complement each other. So I'm expanding and allowing more growth and new opportunities while also repurposing to ensure the sustainability of my energy, of my time, my finances, and also being able to focus and avoid overwhelming myself with a whole bunch of new stuff. So I'm ready to embrace this balance. I'm ready to create a year that has intentional growth without any type of unnecessary pressure, whether it be pressure from somebody else or pressure from myself. That's not what we're doing this year. And I hope that this episode and me sharing my words jogged your brain, and maybe go back and listen to some of my other episodes about words that I've chosen to help you decide, what is my focus going to be this year? And the reason it makes it so easy for me is I can always ask myself, when something comes up, is this going to allow me to expand? Am I repurposing this? Am I reinventing the wheel and making things harder for myself and making myself frustrated? Based off of those questions, I'm going to know if I am in alignment with my words, and it's going to make decisions that much easier to sort out. I struggle with decision fatigue. I struggle with being able to make decisions. I don't know if it's just my characteristic, the Libra in me, but I can be very indecisive. So having words really pinpoints, yes, this is what I'm prioritizing right now. No, I don't need to be prioritizing that right now because that is not aligned with where I'm going and what I want to do. Now, you can pivot. Don't take this information and say, oh my gosh, I chose these words and I absolutely by month 3 hate these words and now I can't change them. You can change your words, but I am going to challenge you to know the difference between, this doesn't align for me anymore, so I want to change my words, or I'm uncomfortable and I have to do things outside of the norm to follow the words that I've set for myself, and I would rather just do what's easy or go back to what I'm used to. Know the difference, because one is going to cause you to grow and one is going to cause you to be miserable. So don't not do it just because it's uncomfortable, because your word pushed you outside of your little comfort zone. Push yourself. You cannot imagine who you will be at the end of this year when you push yourself a little bit at a time. I promise it's going to be worth it. So there we have it. My words for 2025: expand and repurpose. Remember, we're trying to grow with intention and we're trying to maximize what already exists. Well, I am. If you take these words, you are too. I want you to choose your words for 2025 if you haven't already. If it feels right, listen, I'm not telling you what to do. If this feels right for you and it feels aligned for how you want to go into your new year, by all means, choose your words. And I want you to share your words with me. I want to share your words. I want to hear your reflection on what this video did for you. Did it bring up anything for you? Does this feel like the right direction? Or are you going to stick to your resolutions? Or do you decide that you just don't want to do anything at all? I want you to know this year, I am expanding into a life I've built and repurposing the tools I already have. I invite you to do the same because you've already done the work. I know you. I know the people that come into my atmosphere. You've already done the work and you've been doing the work. And now it's time for you to enjoy the work that you've put in. Okay. So make sure that you share this with someone that you two could possibly be accountability partners, and make sure that you join the newsletter. If you are enjoying these videos, I give so many more little tidbits and gems on my newsletter that may never see the light of day here. So definitely come on over, join the newsletter, and the link is in the comments, and get exclusive content. Okay, get exclusive things. Allow me to continue to support you and point you in the right direction of your small steps. Okay, so I will see you in the next video. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that if you haven't already heard my past episodes about choosing words for the new year instead of resolutions, that this gives you something more to think about. And maybe you're expanding this year, maybe you're repurposing this year. Either way, make it easy for yourself. Align with your words. Okay, make decisions based off of your words. If you have other ways that you are leaning into expanding or leaning into yourself after reflection, I would love to know what you're doing if you don't use words and you don't use resolutions. So make sure you share that with me. You can either email me or comment. And don't forget to join the newsletter. Okay, so I appreciate you so much for listening to this episode, and I will talk to you again next week. Love you. Bye.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Owning Pleasure as a Black Woman. If this conversation sparked something in you and you're ready to take action, don't let that inspiration fade by Monday morning. Visit www.jrewellness.com/reset and start your free 7-day self-care reset today. Because the woman who just listens and the woman who actually takes action, they live completely different lives. Talk to you next week. Bye.